All right, so I'll be showing you how you can recreate your client's office space, their office environment. We're going to have to ask the right questions, and then we're going to use the architectural elements from the KOE catalog to recreate their space. All right, so first off, what we need to do is we need to ask those right questions. And what I mean by those right questions is we already know that whenever we work with our clients, they always supply us with just a little bit of a tidbit of what the project is, and it's really up to us to engaging with the client to finding out what the full scope is. Okay. Now, they could be sending us a plan. They could be sending us images. Every project is different. Really, what we need to do is we need to ask those questions for the information that we require. And what I always like to say is if you don't ask the questions, you're not going to get the answer. It's very simple. So I always ask a few key things, such as what's the height, length, width of the space, what's the overall space square footage. These are all things that can help you out when you're building the space. Now, again, we know that we like to use the KITS collaborator to quickly close those sales by finding quick solutions for our clients, but not every project is the same. And so what we need to do at times is we need to utilize what we have access to, such as the KOE catalog, and also some of the information that we have. So at this point, before I even have this meeting set up with the client, I'm going to engage my client, and I'm going to start asking questions, just as I mentioned. I'm going to ask height, length, width of space. Is it possible for them to take a picture of the space? Everybody has access to a smartphone, and so communication and being able to supply us with this type of information is really quite easy. It's about how comfortable your client is with you. It's about engaging in them and really building that rapport with them. Okay, so I don't have to tell you guys this as a salesperson. You already understand all this, and you know that building that rapport with your client is literally the majority of the battle when it comes to closing sales. All right, so the client has sent us a picture, and this is the image that we have. Okay, so right away, I have to analyze what this space is. And the first things that I notice is what I like to look at are crash points. So the major crash points that I have here is one, the large column in the space. I mean, that looks like to be roughly about a 24-inch column. Again, I'm basing this on experience of what, of being an interior designer and working with spaces such as this. And then I'm also looking at the door swing here. It looks like the door swings right. And so these are major crash points of where I can't have furniture because these are obstructions. Okay. So I know that, again, I can look at this credenza that's been lined here. This is a nice wall that I can put some type of work wall or possibly storage if that's required. But again, I can assume that maybe at the largest, the credenza is maybe 24 inches in depth. It actually looks like it's a little bit smaller. But even at 24 inches of depth, it looks like it's just enough space to place here. We know that we don't want to create any tight points in these corners because, again, we don't want to create areas that they can't really use. We already know that this is a space that they can't use anyways. So again, we don't want to obstruct having access there because, again, it's just areas that need to be cleaned. Over here, again, we got to make sure that we have enough space for the door swing. So again, quickly analyzing what I have here is going to help me build or recreate my client's office space. All right. Next, I'm going to take a look at all the walls. So here I have a nice glazing wall on the exterior wall. I know that's going to be all glass. So we can utilize items in the KOE catalog to represent that. Next, we have a nice partition wall here or a demising wall. I don't know what's next to this office space, but I do know that there's at least a separator here, a separation wall. I know that it goes against the glazing here, so that glazing looks like it continues all the way through. But again, this gives me something to use if I need to place items against that wall. Then we have the front of the office here. Again, I can see that it's all frameless glass. It has a door swing that swings inside right, and then has a side window or side light that I also have to accommodate for. Okay, so these are all things that I have to take in account, but what I'm going to do is, what better way to find solutions than to start off with building the client space and then seeing what actually fits into that space. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the new approach line by Allsteel. I have a brand new catalog, sorry, I have a brand new gallery category that was created for the approach line, which hasn't been published yet. So if you have access to Allsteel, you'll have access fairly soon to the new approach line and the standard typicals that have been created. All right, so we're going to first create this office space. So I'm going to go into kits. Okay, so here I'm into kits. I'm going to go ahead and tap on the plus sign, and we're going to go directly into the scene builder. Okay, we already know that the scene builder is the only place that I can space plan this project. So based on the photo that has been sent and the measurements that my client has supplied us, I know that roughly I'm working with a 15-foot by 15-foot space with an exterior glass wall with a frameless front wall, frameless glass front wall, and then two drywall partition walls on either side. So based on these conditions, I can preset my floor grid so that I can change my floor grid to equal the size of the space that I'm building, but I'm actually going to leave it at 30 feet by 30 feet because it's not really going to obstruct, or it's not going to really impact my my building effort here. I'm just going to go ahead and start placing items so that I can start recreating my client space. So I'm going to go into the Add Item menu, and then we're going to go into the KOE Catalog. And if this is your first time using the KOE Catalog, or if you're an experienced user but really haven't had a chance to go through it, what I do suggest is before you work on any project, understand what you have available in the KOE Catalog, because you never know what can actually help you to close your sales. Okay, at this for this scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to pre-build our client's office space so that we can find solutions based on their requirement. All right. I'm going to go into architectural elements, and I can see all the different categories that I have here, from columns to flooring to plumbing to walls, wall configurations. I'm going to use some of these items here to rebuild the client space. So let's go into wall configurations, and I can see I have curtain wall typical. So this is something that I can access. And then we also know that the client space is 9 foot high. So I'm going to go into the 9-foot category. And now I'm just going to quickly look at my thumbnail view so that I can understand exactly what I have available to me. So here I have some interior curtain walls that are frameless, that are framed. I also have 80-foot walls, 60, 40, 20, 100-foot walls. So you can see all the different variations of wall structures that we have here that we can utilize to building our client space. And then I have these pre-built walls, 15 feet by 15 feet, with a curtain wall with a perpendicular drywall that's adjacent to it. And we do know that in our project, we're working with a 15 by 15 space. We know that drywall is on the right-hand side, so let's go ahead and use this curtain wall typical here. And I just double tapped on the image, and now I'm going to drag it into the space. I'm going to go into plan view. I want to make sure that I'm utilizing the floor grid properly, and I'm going to place the items in the center of the floor grid. And then what I like to do is, with these wall typicals or layouts, I like to place the floor grid square on the inside so that now I know that I'm using a 15-foot by 15-foot length. Okay. All right, so now that that's complete, I need to create the sidewall here. So let's go back into the KOE Catalog. We're going to go into walls, 9 feet, and I'm going to go ahead and find the largest wall I have, which is 10. So that's 10 feet in length. Let's rotate that, and the snap to should help me place that. There we go. Let's duplicate this wall one more time. Again, we're going to add it, and I'm not going to worry about placing this precisely. I just want to make sure that I connect it. Doesn't matter if it overlaps, because whenever once you apply a swatch and then you render it, the overlap isn't seen anyways. And even though this wall is a little bit longer than the other one, I know that based on the perspective view that I'm going to create, I'm not even going to see this part of the wall. So I really don't care at this point that it's not exactly as it is for my client space, because I just want to make sure that I can create the graphic for my client, and I'm going to have control over that. Okay. So we do know that we have to build that front wall. And if we go back to the image that we were using, let's just give it a second here. I can see that I have all this frameless glass here. I have this door, and then I have a side light. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate that. And so I'm going to access a few things. And this is why it's important that you explore the KOE catalog, because you have to understand what's available to you and where you can actually find it. So to find that long wall, I'm going to go to wall configurations. Again, curtain walls, because it's glass, 9 feet high. And remember, I mentioned it in the beginning when we were looking at this category. Here we have a 10-foot interior curtain wall that's frameless. I'm going to bring that into the space. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and attach it on this end piece here, because it doesn't matter. I'm going to place it properly along this line afterwards. But what I want to do is I want to build this line first before I actually go ahead and attach it. So next, we're going to go ahead and find the door. And we know that we have to find a glass door. So I'm going to go to doors. And here I have a category of 9 feet, but I know in 9 feet, I don't have any glass doors. We've placed all our glass doors in the other category, and the majority of them are already preset at 9 feet high. Okay. So again, looking at the thumbnail images and maybe tapping on one of the images, I can see what these all look like. So I have double glass doors. I have an in and an out, so an egress in, egress out. I have a 9-foot frameless glass door that has a header and that swings left. Now this swings left based on the plan. I need it to swing right. So if I actually utilize this door, I can bring it into the space. And then what I have to do is I have to rotate it. Okay, so it has the proper swing. So I can definitely use this door, but I see an issue. I don't have a top header for it. So this may not be the appropriate door. So let's go back to the KOE catalog. That's what it looks like. And let's see, oh, we do have a glass door with a header. If I tap on this one, I can now see what it looks like. Okay, there's my header, there's my door. I just have to rotate it. And that's what I can use for this project. Let's go back to plan view. Let's rotate it. And now I'm going to turn off my snap to so I can line this door properly. Now you don't necessarily have to do that, because your client's not going to know exactly that the door isn't placed in the exact position. There's nothing there to really indicate that. Okay, so let's continue on. And what I need to do is I need to build that side light window. And I know it's a window, so I don't have it in my doors category. So I'm going to go to my windows category. And again, I'm going to see what I have available. So you can see all these available items. I don't know what they exactly look like. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the first image, and I can actually use this to understand exactly what I have. So I just passed an arch wall. I also passed some trim pieces. Here are some, it looks like to me, some exterior curtain walls. Again, there's a new window connection. Here's a curtain wall, single panel, left, right. And oh, this looks to be something that I can utilize, because it's a frameless curtain wall, single panel, and more importantly, what I see here is that it also has the top and bottom frame, which my image already has as well, or my graphic that I'm creating has. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this. And I'm going to go ahead and double tap and drag it into the space. Before I attach it, I know that I need a trim piece here, and I did see some trim pieces. Here I have one at 1 inch by 12 feet, and then I also have one by 1 inch by 9 feet, which is the one I need. Let's bring in that trim piece. And I'm just going to guesstimate as to where it is. Okay. Reason why I'm not being so precise is, again, the client is not going to be able to tell how precise that is. And plus, that's not really part of the project scope, because this is an existing space, and the reason why we're recreating it is so that we can utilize it to providing our client with possible solutions. Okay. Duplicate that. Let's create one more on this side. That looks good to me. And now let's take a look at that wall. Okay. If I go to plan view, I can see that it's a lot longer than the extension here, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do is first I'm going to do a select all, and I'm going to group this line together. So now anytime I select one item from this group, it selects all items. Then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up against this wall here. Okay, let's make sure Snap 2 is on. There we go. There's my frame. That looks pretty good to me. And then, you can see here that we've actually cut right through. No worries, that's intentional, because what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go back to that same trim piece. And even though the glass goes right through the wall, my client's not even going to see that. So that's of no concern for me. And now let's place this according to where I need to place it. And there you go. It's now capped off the wall. I have frames there. And again, this is just creating a representation of the space that already exists. So even though it's not exactly what the client space looks like, it's a fairly good representation of it. Okay. There's the building. I'm pretty happy with this. So let's continue on and let's add that 24-inch column. Go to columns here, round, and I have options. Okay, so I have a 12-inch round, 36 round, and also 24 round. So it was 24 that I was looking at, and we know that ceiling heights are 9, so I'm going to make sure I use the 24 round column at 9 feet. And then from the image again, I know that we had at least 24 inches of space from the wall to the actual column. We don't know how far it sits back from this, so again, at this point, it's a guesstimation. Let's look at it in 3D view, and look how closely this environment looks. Okay, without even furniture items in it. Let's quickly specify the walls. Just going to go with a select wall color. I'm now going to tap on light tones. Let's go with white neutrals, turn off light tones. And then I'm going to go ahead and select an item from here to represent the walls that are being renovated. Okay. Place all, tap on. That adds the selection. However, also adds a selection here. I want to make sure this remains white. Okay, that one done. And there we go. Okay, we're nearly complete. We just need to add a floor. And architectural elements. flooring, 1515. So let's go ahead and add this to the project. And then let's just place it within the plan. Okay, take a look at that. And look how quickly I was able to create my office environment for my client. So let's go ahead and double tap on the gray finish here. We're going to go ahead and select carpet color. I'm going to also further refine my search by only searching neutral tones. Okay. I have all these wonderful selections to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one, tap on done, and there you go. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So now what I can do is double tap select, go into plan view. All my items are selected. I want to group my items together. So now anytime I tap on one of the items and drag, it drags all the items together so I don't lose positioning anymore. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the Allsteel Gallery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to view by product name. Oh, and you can see the approach line is the very first line that's now been placed in this catalog. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on it. And I can now see all the different options that are available to me. Okay. Now, if I tap on one of the images, I can flick through and really view them in a larger graphic. But I do know that this is the one that I want to use for today's webinar, but we can also test to see how this fits. So I'm going to go ahead and use the first typical. So we're going to go ahead and double tap the image, and we're going to drag it into the scene. Let's place it in plan view. And the first place I want to set it up is against the wall where the column is. And now we're going to attach it to the wall here. Okay. So you can see here I've compensated for the door swing, so you can see that it swings and it doesn't or isn't obstructed by anything. And then as well, I didn't create any kind of tight points here. I still have access to this corner, or at least the cleaners have access to that corner. Let's go into 3D view and let's take a look at what that project looks like. I mean, it's not bad. It could be better. There's a lot of wasted space here. But at least this layout allows me to place the furniture against this wall. So you can see how powerful it is to have a pre-configured office space that you can utilize, especially if it's a recreation of your client space, and then being able to place furniture items in it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Now let's go ahead and add the other meeting table. Okay. I already know that it's not going to fit properly against this side here because one, we have an obstruction point with the door. Two, we have this column here. So I'm going to flip it around. And now attach it. Let's go to 3D view. That looks pretty good to me. Go to plan view. Now I just want to validate dimensions based on the floor grid. I want to make sure that the person sitting here has at least 3 feet of space to move around. So if I zoom in a little bit more so you can see the, oh, you can't actually see the KOE Catalog. Oh, there we go. So now you can see through it. I can see that I have roughly about, oh, can't get that transparency to go. Oh, there we go. So I know at least I have 3 feet of space here for my client to sit in. Now, the only thing is I find that this point here is going to be a little bit too tight for anybody to walk in. It's roughly 2 feet. So let's make sure that, again, my client has at least 3 feet of walking space between furniture items and any architectural item, such as the wall column. Okay. So here, I've clearly made about 3 feet in space, and I'm pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to do now is, let's take a look at what that looks like in 3D. And then what we're going to do is we're going to adjust it accordingly. Okay. And there's my lovely space. I like this. I can see that using these, this particular table set really does help with sight lines, because if I place a chair here and I place a chair here and I place a chair here, everybody has perfect view to the screen that's going to be placed in this project. Now we need to add some chairs to complete it. So let's go ahead and tap on the Add Item menu. We can go ahead and tap on Reset All, tap on Allsteel, Seating, Steel Seating, and we're going to go ahead and use the Lyric work chair. That's going to be basic synchro tilt with a high back, mesh, fixed arms, and we're going to go ahead and use that first image, our first model, and we're going to drag it into the space. Let's go into Plan View, and now I can begin to set these items accordingly. Okay, there we go. One more duplicate. There we go. Now you might be wondering if I wasn't considering location points. This actually works for me because, again, the door may not be open, and even if somebody does open it, you're not going to actually hit anybody that's sitting around in the space. Okay. And look how quickly it was for me to build this space using planning typicals and also KOE Catalog items. Let's specify the chair. And all of you know that because these chairs belong on one line, anytime I make a change to one, makes a change to all. So it makes it easy for me to quickly specify the project. Okay, and next, we're going to go with a grade 1 option. We're going to go with blue. Let's select that lovely blue there. Tap on next. Lyric headset option. We're going to say no. Tap on done. And that should conclude my spec for that chair. Okay, look how wonderful that image looks. Okay, so what are the things that are missing from this that are key elements? Well, obviously one is a TV screen. So let's go into the Add Item menu, tap on Reset All. I'm going to do a quick search for anything that contains LED. Tap on Search. It's going to probably pull up anything that has LED in the model name or short summary. So I'm going to go into the catalog and we're going to filter only items that are found in Allsteel. Once I do so, you can see how quickly it refreshes my screen to only indicating those items that contain LED here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to filter the KOE Catalog out. And now you can see how quickly it refines my search to providing only those items that I want to see. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this 47-inch. Do a quick rotate, and now we're going to drag it to the center, and then drag it into the actual media cabinet. Okay, it's slightly lower, so I'm going to use the vertical raise gesture, and with my Snap 2 on, it should appear on the top shelf. And look how neat this project actually looks. I have great sight lines. I have my nice TV here that can be seen. All that's left to do is enhance the project now So we can add people, we can add items. It's clearly up to you what you want to add. I can go by room type. You can look at all the different plans, configuration, series name, or better yet, I'm just going to go right into the Allsteel Catalog, Allsteel seating, and I do know that we're going to be working with the Access chair today, so we're going to tap on Access. Oh, yeah, here we go, Access work chair. Basic synchro tilt with a mesh back and with fixed arms. And now I have these two options. So if you're confused about the options, usually one just indicates that there's a fire code that has been added to this particular model. So I'm going to go ahead and double tap on ABW-MFN. There's my chair. Let's now drag it into the scene. Okay. Now, for some reason, it looks like it's fixed in a particular space. So I'm going to go ahead and do undo. Well, let's do a redo. Looks like that column has been grouped together, so I'm going to ungroup it. And there, now it's an individual item. Perfect. Let's remove this chair. And let's place this column back in the appropriate space. Okay. So now that I have all that, we can add some more things like people. That'll give us definitely a better sense of scale. I'm going to go to my go-to guy, that's Ken, PM number 9, because why? You guys all know. He seems to fit every single manufacturer's chair. There you go. Let's get somebody else here. This guy looks like he could be a good presenter. Okay. And now let's add one more person. And now let's place her on the appropriate chair. Okay. Let's turn off the snap to for this. And there we go. Let's take a look at that 3D. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. This is a great reflection of the client's office space, as well as really hits the requirements of the project scope. So what I'm going to do now is I want to take a nice rendering of this so I can send it off to my client. However, what I want to first do is I want to make sure that I can place it in the proper perspective view. And this is what you're going to have to understand. You're going to have to understand what's most important for your client to see. You know, is it the entire office that it's actually going to be utilized in? That could be a rendering, or maybe allowing the client to see exactly all the storage ideas that you have for this, where the TV is going to go, because this is ultimately going to help them with building their environment. Okay, I'm going to add one more item because it looks like Ken wants to be typing something. So office elements, equipment. Nope, that's going to be an accessories. Nope, sorry, equipment, and what I'm looking for is a laptop. There's my laptop. Let's go into plan view. And we're going to spin this. So it's like the client is using it. Let's look at 3D view. Looks like it needs to be raised, so we're going to use a 3-finger gesture. And well, let's go ahead and turn off snap to, so it'll snap to the top of the table. That looks pretty good. Let's add some color to the people. Okay. And one more. And there we go. Now look how wonderful that image now looks, and it's taken us really no time to build. So now I'm going to zoom in properly, and I'm going to pay attention to what I'm actually showing my client. So I want my client to see the overall furniture items that are going to be used and the spacing based on the people that I have here, as well as their positioning within the space. Another thing that I also don't want to show is I don't want to show this partition wall here, because that really has no bearing, other than the fact that it is empty and it is an opportunity for me to build something new there. Okay. There's my lovely rendering. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on render, and we're going to go ahead and select the first option. Or again, because this is something that you want to share with your client when you get there, you might want to do it in best rendering, but if we're client facing, we're going to use the very first option, which is the good quality. Okay. All right, so that's rendering, and that's pretty much it, everyone. We've now completed the actual project. We've created a client's office space. We've used it as a guide to placing furniture in there so we could find great solutions for them. Now, all it is a matter of closing the project with the client and showing them all the wonderful things that you can do with the KISP Collaborator in real time. All right, so I'm going to save this image to my photo library. And then we can go ahead and we can take a look at some questions. If there are any questions, important questions, we can go over them, or in case there are any questions I need to take offline, then we will definitely contact you at some time to go over the questions that you have. All right, so that's pretty much it. First off, I want to thank the KISP community for joining me today. Don't forget, our awesome support team is ready to support your every need, so feel free to reach out to them with any questions that you have at all. You can contact them via email, or you can contact them by calling them on the number here on the screen, okay, at KISP Support. We also want you to become our next KISP collaborator, so contact us with a quote about KISP. You can contact myself, you can even contact sales, or you can contact KISP Support for that. You could also access the Knowledge Center for KISP collaborator requirements, but literally what we want is a nice quote about KISP, maybe how it actually helped you close your sale, or what you love about KISP, your selfie, preferably with KISP in it. And what we'll do is reward you with a Starbucks e-gift card of up to $25. We will also post your wonderful comment and wonderful project up on our Knowledge Center for all the other KISP users to see, and you can become amongst one of our famed KISP collaborators in the past. Again, you can join a very select group of people that have supplied us with their projects. Okay, it's really easy. All you have to do is contact us, and we can take you step by step to becoming the collaborator. Don't forget, we are running the free training webinar. That's going to be on June 14th at 3 p.m. So if you're new to, if you're a new user to KISP, or just love attending my webinars, please register. You can register by the email that's going to be sent out by Julia, or you can actually find registrations on our KISP Knowledge Center just under resources. All right, that's pretty much it today, everyone. I hope you guys all have a great long weekend, and I hope to see you right back here again next week for Webinar Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone.